Welcome to Grim Grotto. My name is Dave.
And my name is Julie, and Dave and I will be discussing a part 2 of my night shift stories that I have. If you haven't listened to part 1 yet, that's up. We go in about talking about this resident that I had. Changed her name, of course, because, keep the, anonymity? Is that the word?
Yeah.
Yeah. So we changed it to Agatha, and I will continue to call her Agatha in this one if I bring her up, but it's probably one of mine and Dave's favorite episodes so far.
I really loved it, and listening to it again and hearing the story, I was like, oh, that was so intense, especially the part where you were talking to Agatha and your coworker could only hear your side of the conversation, but she was making these sounds, but they weren't words that they could hear. But to you, it was a two-sided conversation.
Yeah. And Lupin just came into the room, so he wanted to say that his favorite one was the Ghost Cat episode. So if you haven't listened to that, I'm pretty sure that's the episode where we capture the Ghost Cat actually doing something.
Is that where something flew off the shelf?
Yeah, from behind me. And Lupin wasn't there, so ha!
Wild.
Told you. But before we go into that, I just have a few things that I'm excited for, especially because this is the first week of June. So June's a big month for us. One, if y'all don't know, it is the strawberry moon. So I will be having some guided journals and stuff like that on our Patreon. Our Patreon is Grim Grotto, and it has a whole bunch of things. So it has our podcast, our Locked podcast, and then some free downloads, as well as some photos that we take in creatively, because I am really into surreal art and emotional photography, what have you. So if you want, you can go check it out. You can even be a free member, or you can support us. If you do decide to support us at the $5 tier, you can get a free gift if you sign up this month. Yeah, there we go. Sounded very news anchory.
Well, what's the free gift?
Ooh, what's the free gift? I don't know. No, I'm kidding. Maybe. To be decided. No. The free gift will be for sure a Grim Grotto sticker, like our original GG sticker.
Oh,
so I'll have that. And then I've been doing cryptid art too. So just kind of a cryptid alphabet. So A, alien, B, Bigfoot. I'll throw in
Jake the Alligator Man.
That's it doesn't fit into the rest. Well, I'm on E right now. No, I'm on F. Yeah, I'm on F. Ooh, I like F because it's glittery. I had to think about that. But we'll throw in, 2 stickers, one being our Grim Grotto icon one, and then the second one being one of our cryptid stickers, and then I'm gonna make Dave type a thank you letter off of his typewriter that he's so proud of having.
Well, it is a 1950s German typewriter, to be precise.
Well, that's fine. And
truly an heirloom of a note that you'll receive.
You're like the best part of the game.
Yeah.
So just to reiterate, that is for the Hermit tier and up. You can find our Patreon by going to Patreon and going into Grim Grotto, and or you could just go to the episode description, find the link there, make it very easy. If not, still check it out, because there might be something you like. There might not be something you like. Either way, you looked and now the mystery's gone. So, the mystery of wondering what could be there.
It's all about the journey.
It's all about the journey. There are pictures of Jake the Alligator there. There are not pictures of this typewriter that Dave is so enthralled about.
No.
I mean, if you guys want the typewriter photos to be on there, let us know in that comments. Actually, vote yes for the typewriter photo. Dave's the one that does the description, so he's probably gonna put yes and then absolutely let yes instead of yes and no.
Are you gonna take pictures of me candidly as I'm typing on the typewriter? I didn't know you were taking the pictures and they'll end up on Patreon.
Whatever.
Oh, wait, this is not a flattering picture, Julie.
I only take flattering angles.
That is true.
Yes.
I don't know how you do it.
On the other hand, I don't know.
It's an art form.
Yeah, an art form you need to learn. No, I'm kidding. But let's get into it, because I'm excited. I really loved revisiting just my memories and everything about Agatha, because she really did have such an impact on my life, especially when she had stated that she had seen the boy. And that is the only other person that I know of who's ever seen him as well. And I don't know, it just resonates in my heart.
It was such a good story, and the ending where you went back into her room after she passed away, and then the chocolate flew off the shelf, right?
It's so precious. So if anybody wants to make it a movie.
That could be a movie, honestly.
Right.
I would see that.
That would be cute. But in the same account, that same place, so we had, I'm sure they still have veterans who had stayed there, who were residents there, and every 4th of July shift I got or anything like that, there was always something in the air. So I don't know if the fireworks kind of ignited their memories or just kind of like core trauma that they may have had.
Emotions.
Yeah. But having those high emotions made the air very tense. So every 4th of July, the air was extremely tense there. I don't know, nothing spiritual happened, I would say, or nothing like paranormal other than it was very tense. There was another resident that I had who moved into Agatha's room after Agatha's family took everything. And when I would go in there, she would say that she had seen somebody. And that the description that she gave was like Agatha. And I was just like, oh.
I was going to ask you about that. When people would move into a room, would you ever get reports from them about the prior tenant? Which is kind of an odd concept when you think moving in, there's only vacancy for a reason. I would feel weird moving into a room, you know?
Oh, that is true, especially in nursing homes, unless it's brand new. No, just that one. Other ones really didn't get that. But I did have this one lady who, I forgot her name in general, but we'll call her Andrea. Lots of A's. And she would also say that her son was visiting. Lots of like sons visiting. And she would want me to come meet him. She would just say, oh, he wants to meet you. Every time I would go into her room, nothing. There wouldn't be anything there. And then this one day, I was doing a service with her, and she's like, he's here, and her TV pops on.
Oh.
And I was like, is your TV on like a timer or something? And she said, no, that's him. He's watching his favorite channel. And I was like, I don't see him.
What channel was it?
It was just the news.
Oh, I thought Discovery Channel. Or
no, it was not
History
Ancient
Channel,
Aliens, David. So there's that. And there's just kind of like little pockets here and there, but nothing in that specific workplace that was as impactful as Agatha. Another pocket was this other resident on the same floor as Agatha. She would see her husband come in often, and anytime I would come in, she would always think I was him because he was standing where I kind of like walked into.
Oh, yeah.
So she would just say, you're stepping on him, or anything like that. But off of the nursing home, though, when I was in school to become a CNA, and we had to do clinicals. So one, I was in nursing school, we had clinicals, but those were a little different. For CNA, you go into a nursing home, and it's usually more of like the intensive care nursing home, so you can learn how to do all of the services, so like changing the bed, working with the residents, all of that. And that one was very active. So the one I was employed in was an assisted living. So most residents were able to still do most of their tasks by themselves with assistance. The place that I did clinicals in was a full-blown, these people needed help from start to finish.
Yeah. And
there it was very interesting. We had hospice down one of the hallways that was connected to it, so that was kind of their, I don't know, selling point, I guess. They said you don't have to move homes, they just go into hospice in the same location. So there was a resident in hospice. I don't remember her name at all whatsoever. So we were there and we were kids. So we were all kind of helping do one of the services. And my partner that I got paired up with, the resident's family asked her if their mom would be okay. And I looked at her because, like, the number one rule, especially as somebody who's in class, not licensed yet, is to not answer medical questions. Like, say, I don't know, you'll have to get the charge nurse or whatever, who's ever on staff at that time. She answered the question. And she said, yeah, it looks like they're going to be fine. And then she said that this bed sore was going to heal up just fine and everything. And I looked at her, like, ready to scream because I'm just like, from what I saw, I was like, no, she's not going to heal from this, because when we were in her room, her other family members from the other side were already gathering. And I could tell that she had days left. The nurse that oversaw the people in the CNA class came in because she wanted to talk to me and my partner, because she wanted to let us know, hey, you're not supposed to tell the family, because the family had told them. And so she said, you're not supposed to tell. And I was like, great, now I'm in trouble, even though I wasn't the one to tell, but whatever. And so the nurse looked at it and she was like, oh, this and that, because she was a BSN. And she's just like, oh, I've been doing this for years. Like, yeah, these aren't going to heal, but she has this much time And I said, no, you're wrong. She has until Thursday in the morning. And she looked at me and she's like, I've been this for 20-some years. And I was like, okay. And I've seen ghosts my entire life. I don't know what you want me to tell you, ma'am. But no, I didn't say that.
Yeah,
But
here's my paranormal resume.
I'm like, here's my, I didn't just pick this up type deal. This is something that I was born with. And it's really heavy in my culture. So I was just like, no, this is what it is. And I don't think it's fair of you to tell the family that she has months left. I think you should just leave it as it is. And then she was just like, I've seen people pass away, this and that. And I was like, I've seen both. Because I was just so irritated. Because I don't like when people give people false hope. Because then they can't prepare for it. Because then they're thinking, oh, we have months. And then all of a sudden it's not months. And then it's a big shock. So it's either just don't say anything at all. Just say, I'm not sure. But this is what it looks like. But so her and I talked about it. And I said, no, she has until Thursday in the morning. She was just like, okay. So then days passed. It comes to Thursday. We worked the night shift for our clinicals. And that specific resident passed away that morning. The BSN said, hey, Julie, can you just come here for a second after we all finished our debriefing and then we got let go? She had my partner wait in the lunchroom. And then she had me come with her and she was like, how did you know? And I was like, what do you mean, how do I know? And then she said she passed away at 3 a.m. in the morning. And I was just like, oh, well, I knew because I saw her family members. And she's like, her family members weren't in there. And I was just like, no, I knew because I've seen her family members that passed on. It's this thing and they all come to make sure that it's a easier transition, especially if they're a well-loved individual. And then she was just like, you know, in all my years, people have said that they've seen things similar to that, but I never believed them. But after today, now I do. And she told me, she was just like, yeah, you should continue nursing. You can use it to console families. And I was just like, no, I don't think that's the route I want to go. I don't want to be the person that's just like, oh, your other family's here, because then I now become that middle piece where they go, can you tell them this or can you tell them that? And I just don't want to do that because that's not how the communication happens for me. So
it just seems kind of intense or draining where that's your daily life, especially in that kind of environment where people are with their family member for their final moments, or if they just passed and now they want to relay messages and stuff. It's so fresh. The grief and everything is so heavy, and I can only imagine being around that. But then also being seen as this person who can help bridge that gap seems kind of an intense position to be put in.
It's not fun because then they're like, well, they said this, because I remember I was talking to somebody and they were talking about something and I had said a nickname to them. I just said it out loud because it was coming in really strong. They asked me why I said that nickname and I was just like, I don't know, I just keep hearing it. And then they said my dad used to call me that before he passed away. And I was just like, oh. And then right away it's, do you see my dad? What does he look like? And I was like, I don't know. I'm sorry I said it out loud. I was just like, what is this?
Like so many follow-up questions.
Yeah, I know. And it wasn't ever meant to be that way. It was just like this word just kept coming and it wouldn't be quiet until I said it. So I was just like, okay, I'll say it. There you have it. So there's that. And then my final little in healthcare, because we're gonna just stick to the healthcare. For the casino thing, we can unpack the casino thing.
There's a whole different quest.
Right, because that had like corridors and stuff. But for healthcare, the next one was when I worked at the hospital. And when I worked at the hospital, there was a morgue, which I don't know if this is true for everywhere, but I was told specifically like in Wisconsin that every hospital had a morgue. Is that true here in Oregon?
I've never needed to know or look up the information in my life, so I'm not entirely sure.
No, that's fair. That's fair. You don't have to be.
But it would make sense. I mean, maybe the larger hospitals.
Yeah, maybe. Well, maybe one of our listeners know. If you're from Oregon, do you know if the hospitals have a morgue here? If they do, feel free to drop it in the comments so that other people can read the comments so that they have the answer, since Dave and I don't know. But in Wisconsin, the hospitals have morgues. And during my 30-minute lunch break, I always made it my mission to go find the morgue. Because the doctors wouldn't tell you.
Like where it was?
Yeah.
Okay, so it's in a secret location.
Okay, so this is what happened. If something had happened to one of our clients, we did not bring them down to the morgue. The doctors didn't bring them down to the morgue. It was always this other team that would come up and bring them down. So I knew it was downstairs. this was a big hospital. Most hospitals are pretty big, but every lunch break I would venture down there and I would go down and like
a little mouse.
I was like a little mouse, and then I became friends with like multiple people downstairs, right? Because you got to work the network. And then
would you fabricate your position and everything and your business need for going down?
Well, no, because it was my break, so it's okay for going downstairs. Because downstairs was also where they held the ER, too.
Oh, okay.
Like, the way it was set up was you could be in the back, you know, and if something was coming, you would just stand to the side. Like, as long as you weren't breaking a sterile field or anything, you could walk around the hallways. It's not like I was entering every single room.
A little side quest story. This isn't paranormal, but it was one of those embarrassing moments. You know how sometimes in public I find myself in just bizarre situations and socially awkward scenarios. So I was on this walk by the major hospital on the hill, OHSU. I was venturing just around, went up a trail, and then I ended up, there was a staircase that went up into the hospital from a pedestrian walkway in the back.
Okay.
So I was like, okay, I'm just going to cut through the hospital to get to the other side of the hill where I was going. I go up the stairs and then I open a door into this back area thinking I just keep going through here and I'll end up in the main hallway. All these people came out like, whoa, how did you get in here? Like, what are you doing? I'm like, I don't know. I just came off. Like, they're like, how did you get in here? I was like, I came up those stairs that were just out there. They were treating me like some kind of criminal. I'm like, no, I swear. Can you show me how to get out of here? It's like I entered an alternate reality, but that just reminded me of that, what you're talking about.
How did you get in there? What was it?
I don't know what area I was in.
No, what did they look like? What did they wear? Was it just scrubs?
Yeah,
what did the room look like?
I would be the worst witness to a crime because I blank out when I'm in a scenario where there's all kinds of stuff going on. I don't pay attention to the details, and
I've noticed.
That's why I'm lucky to be with you all the time. So if something happens, somebody will remember a little bit of something.
I'm just all like, yeah, he was 5'9", about 165 pounds, had an orange t-shirt, walked with a limp. You're like, carried wallet on the right side. You're like, how do you know this? Yeah. I'm like, I was born for it. Yeah. That's so funny. No, these were all places anybody was allowed to go in, so it wasn't like I was trespassing or anything, but I was really trying to find out where the morgue was. So it was interesting because every time I felt like I was getting close, there was this weird pull feel. Like, I didn't see anything, but it felt like the air was pulling me, right? And every time I had gone that way, the doors would be closed, so obviously I wouldn't go through them because I'm just like, I don't want to get in trouble for going through these doors. Then one day, I finally saw somebody whom I knew, and I stopped him. I'm going to call him Nick. His name wasn't Nick, but that was the first name. With another
A name, like Alfred.
Adam. Yeah. We'll call him Adam. I was like, Adam, what is behind this door? And he was like, why? And I was like, because when it opens, there's this like next door, and I just feel this pull, like a help me pull type deal. And he said, oh, it's the morgue. And I was like, can I go in there? And he laughed at me, and he was like, no.
The level of excitement would be terrifying.
Because I wanted to be a mortician at one point, and then my mom was all like, pretty girls don't do that. And I was all like, who's to define what's beautiful?
I'm going to prove you wrong. I'm going to be the top mortician of the world.
Right. And here I am, not a mortician. No, my mom said girls don't do that. She was all like, no, you need different job. And I was like, how is it different than being a nurse? I'm still helping, whatever. I'm not going to get graphic. But anywho, still the same premise. So I found the morgue, didn't get to go in the morgue. And yeah, I just felt this weird pull that I haven't felt. And I haven't felt since.
Do you think morgues would be haunted though? Or is it like...
I think it's because it's attached to the hospital.
Oh.
And they're trying to find their bodies. So there's like that pull for like, my life body is here.
How is that different from a graveyard though?
Because most people have like ceremonies and stuff. I don't know, I just when I go to graveyards, it doesn't feel haunted. Like, there doesn't seem to be that much spiritual activity. It's usually in the hospital where the death occurs, you know? While in the graveyard, usually people are put down to rest. But, like, their family says goodbye and everything.
Yeah, I guess that makes sense. People don't usually die at the graveyard and then get buried at the graveyard.
Mm-hmm.
I wonder how many people per year actually die at a graveyard. I bet there's somebody out there.
But it's way less than great white sharks.
Way less than great white? I'd be willing to bet, yeah. Do a lot of people die by great white sharks?
No, I don't think so. I think it's like kangaroos at the most.
Really?
I think. I don't know.
Are kangaroos vicious?
Are kangaroos vicious? Have you ever been by a kangaroo?
Not physically.
Yeah, they're terrible.
Have you physically been by
hippos. Hippos.
Oh, okay. I can
hippos
see that.
Are the ones that kill the most.
That makes sense.
Yes,
they
it
knock
goes
over
hippos.
your boat.
I can't remember what's
huge,
number 2.
Huge, aren't they?
And they're aggressive. And they're territorial.
They hiss? Is that, do I have that right?
Yeah, they have some weird gas
Yeah.
when they open their mouth.
So you couldn't take on a hippo? Like
No.
you could take on a great white shark
I would even run from a hippo.
punching it in the eye or whatever you say?
Yes, if a great white shark came by me, I'd just slap it. Slap! But if a hippo came by me, I'd cry. I would try to hide behind a lion. You're like, you're not scared of the lion? I'm like, this is a hippo. Imagine an aggressive elephant.
You gotta hide behind an anaconda.
The anaconda got nothing on the hippo. Jeez, I would lay in a bath of anacondas if that meant that the hippo would leave me alone.
I don't know. In the jungle, I will leave it to you to take on all of these. Next time we're in the jungle, you'll be my tour guide. I'm just there for the vibes and pray I don't die.
In the jungle, though, just everything's so beautiful. Like in the tropics, there's so many pretty frogs, so many pretty colored snakes. You just run away from all of them. Don't like them. No, don't touch them either. So, yes, that concludes, from what I can think of right now, from what I can remember, my haunted night shift at the hospital.
Well, that was beautiful. I love taking those journeys. And it just, hearing these stories for this one and then the last one, just reminds me, again, I was mentioning this last time, of when we first started talking, you were telling me all these wild paranormal stories that you had, and I was just so enthralled. So it's cool to hear you tell these and share them with the world, too. Yeah, of
course. Anytime. I know there's more. There's something else that happened at the nursing home I worked at, and I just can't remember it. I'm sure my coworker can, because her and I were always like, what was that? And then we would go check on it, and then it'd be something really creepy. Now that I'm saying that, I'm kind of remembering it. So maybe we'll revisit. Maybe we'll have a part 3.
A trilogy.
A trilogy. You know what? I'm going to meditate on this. Because I know I do. Because there were so many. Like, I remember going home and being like, you'll never believe what happened. All the time. Oh, the elevator. You know what? We'll just save it for a part 3. I forgot there was an elevator game. No, I didn't do the elevator game, but there was an elevator. But we will save that for a part 3 because stuff happened with the elevator.
Okay, I'm intrigued.
Yes, and the staircase. There was stairways too.
Okay, so stairwells, elevators.
And then the janitor's bathroom.
So many portals.
I don't know if it was a portal, no. I mean, the janitor's bathroom technically would be considered a portal, I guess, yeah.
But to the sewer.
Yeah, to the sewer. Well, that wraps up this week's episode. Just as a reminder, we are having that freebie with your tier purchase in our Patreon. So if you want to join that or just at least check it out, that is Grim Grotto. The link will be in the episode description. If you are in the Portland area, I do have some exciting news. You can catch Dave and I at Sinister Coffee and Creamery. We will be there during this month on the 12th, 19th, and 26th. I will be holding a How to Read Aura class, so if you're interested in that, go over to Eventbrite and then you can sign up for that. If you do the single class or sign up for one class at a time, that's $26 a class. If you sign up for all 3, you get a discount, so I think it's like $76 as opposed to $78, something like that.
Sounds right.
Yeah. And then on June 13th, so Friday the 13th, Dave and I will also be at Sinister doing palm reading, and then we'll also be selling a few handmade items. And Dave's proud, he made some with me.
And to be clear, you'll be doing the palm readings. I don't know how.
So. Oh yeah, I'll be doing the palm readings. Yes, and we have a few other things in the works, so be sure to stay tuned. And the quickest, easiest way to always stay on track with us is our Instagram. Our Instagram is at @grimgrotto_. If you have a fun story that you would like to share, whether that's about haunted hospitals, haunted nursing homes, hauntings in the graveyard, hauntings in your house, hauntings that's ever been around you in your entire life, and would like to share it with us and have it shared on the episode, feel free to email us at grimgrottopodcast@gmail.com. We would love to share it. Be sure to put if you would like your Instagram tag to be mentioned and in the episode description. And as always, if the grotto is grim, explore within.